Thank you so much. Let me make sure I'm technologically connected here. Everyone can hear me. You guys can hear me in back? Okay. I'm the kind of reader who tends to flail, so if my mic goes flying, you guys have to let me know that you've lost me. I'd very much like to thank the university and the Department of English and the folks who constructed the Doudna Center. It's really spectacular. I dig those black concrete floors, huh? Those are really great. It's the kind of thing where you'd want to wear some really shiny pants, like nylon pants, and slide and see how far you go. Let's see. Professor Martone and I, or Martone, I'm told I can call him. Martone and I went to graduate school together, and I've been trying to think of stories I can tell on him. I'm pretty good at making things up on the spur of the moment, but needless to say, he was one of those quiet guys who would sit there and crack you up after a workshop where we were dissected or torn apart or whatever. He'd give you a look and you could fall apart laughing. So it's kind of wonderful to be here, I think in large part because John knows me and has been a huge supporter over the years. So I'm very happy to be here. Hi, welcome. Grab seats, you guys. This is a huge crowd. I thought after the giant snowstorm of yesterday, no one would be here. So you're really brave and wonderful to come out tonight. All right, that's great. Well, so because I'm from Wisconsin, I was thinking 8 inches, nothing. So I just thought you guys would be too scared, but I'm very impressed. So what I'd like to do is start with a story that I think Martone has read to some of you recently. It's from a book called The Grouper. And I'll just give you a kind of warning at the outset. I went to grad school as a poet originally, then became a fiction writer, and I've kind of backslid back into poetry or something like it. I don't know what to call myself now. I write perhaps poems that are often very narrative. So I'm going to hope that the stuff that's more abstract is still going to read to you guys, that it still will have some interest because there's usually a story attached. So this first piece is I guess I would call a prose poem, and it's called Something God-Awful. Something god-awful that you bought at a yard sale. You'll take it home. Maybe it talks to you. Maybe an enormous guinea pig. Maybe a badly made Afghan. Unlooping, the yarn trips you up. Maybe it stands in the corner using up air. Maybe you decide you made a bad mistake. Maybe your regret makes walking difficult. Maybe you begin to blame yourself. Maybe it looks just like you, has your cheat past, your name, and maybe in the meantime, someone has gotten rich off you, gotten out from under, jumping now up and down, straight up and down for joy. I'm going to read a couple of, I think, more standard poems. This is Would You Like Yourself Better? Would you like yourself better as a woman? In stories, it's sometimes him, sometimes her, the box always arriving, crammed with special attractions, catalogs heavy with gloss, the backs of sea creatures crushed into a delirium. So many the box crimps into teeth, and at the very bottom, brown paper wadded like skin. Ridiculously light, what you sent for, so much prettier than what you have. Would you like it better, opaque, a story all ready to assemble itself? And how to assemble what struggles here? She might be in here or not. He might be listening for what comes next. Branch. A branch has no relatives. You woke 30 years ago. I have to say, this is a poem for anyone who's ever had writer's block as a writer. Let me start again. Branch. A branch has no relatives, you wrote 30 years ago, and in all this time it has remained a rebuke. How could you know something sweet can eat the bowels, something sweet can finish in dust, or that studying sweetness can turn it sour? Sticks like dry syllables twitch in air. I wish I'd never started, you write, and turn away, and then they tremble. They burst into flower. When you don't write it down. There was the story of the woman you meant to, in some word, the martin's nest, up on sticks, as if something got under you, troubling all day, smelling, crying like a dog. This is a poem about getting lost on the way back from my sister's in Champaign-Urbana and driving. Felt like about across half the country. So, and I want to make sure, I'm supposed to say, is it Mahomet? Is that how that town is called? Mahomet? Okay. Okay, get ready, because there's some stuff from Illinois in this poem. On losing 39 South, halfway to Chicago, I realized I was lost and went on my way, dull eyes, two bitter capers rolled out of the jar. Dry, they led me through tolls I couldn't remember. Oh, the eternity of being grateful you haven't killed someone yet the day before Thanksgiving. Planes rising and falling from O'Hare, and on the belly of the Mahomet water tower, a sunset so lovely it bewilders. So I like to riff a lot in my work, and I sort of start often with language and take it somewhere new. So I have a bunch of friends in Madison where I live who are photographers, and I'm a really visual kind of person, really love images a lot. So a friend of mine photographed Native Indian mounds, burial mounds. He's a really amazing technician, so he photographed them at night. And he kept his shutter open a long time, and he ran through the picture back and forth, so you see this sort of part of a leg or part of an arm or part of a neck, kind of like ghosts. And I said to him, I'd love to collaborate, I'd love to write some poems off of your pictures of these Indian mounds. And he said, sure, I'm pretty sure, assuming I would make these beautiful, or hopefully beautiful pieces about Native Americans and stuff about the geography and, real stuff. But of course I didn't. I lied and I made everything up. So, but behind each one of these poems is an image, often mysterious, of like a mound, like part of a body at night with these slices of human beings floating through. And I just moved from those shapes and from that landscape and from the rhythms in the photograph into something else. So if you feel bewildered, don't wrestle to understand, just sort of float around and you'll get there, okay? So these are the Indian mound poems. This one is called The Child. Like a lot of dads looking at a new baby, green snot on its sweet face, these trees recommend stay on the hip of the hill, strange green at night, and a ruby sky as if the crown on the child's head lifted the evil priest on TV with no one watching. Green inhabits what we fail to see, and what we do see warms our palms like another hand.